Good morning, happy Friday. So this morning I'm going to be showing you how to bake a really simple vanilla cake. If you've never done baking before or just want like a really great recipe, this is absolutely the one for you. I'm just checking that it's live. It is fine. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna bake a vanilla cake, but also it's very easily adaptable for like lemon or sticky toffee or chocolate, so it's a really good standard cake to use, which I will go through in the description of the video, alternatives that you can use for different flavours. But in the meantime, let us get baking. So first things first, I want to make sure that you've all put your oven on. So I've got a fan oven and it is on 160. Next thing we're going to do is we just want to line our cake tins. So I always bake in 3 tins, and I've just got a fry light spray here. So I'm just going to lightly spray the inside of the tins with a bit of fry light, because I line the bottom and the side of the tins as well. So to save a bit of time, I always buy the 6-inch rounds from, well, Hobbycraft or Amazon. They just save so much time. But then also to do the side of the tins, I use, if you buy like a normal big roll of baking paper and just slice it into like a 3-inch sections with a knife, you've also then got a roll of baking paper that's perfect to line the outside of your tins with. So I just pop that around the outside of my tin and then cut it off. So I'm just going to cut them up first. And then we'll pop them in. Obviously you could do this ahead of time as well, just pre-cut loads. Almost, that one almost fits, it will be fine. I'll pop a little section in there in a minute. So I'm just going to make sure it's got enough of the spray on the inside, because that's what makes it stick. This one clearly hasn't. Let's get some more spray in there. So we'll just line the inside of the tins. A lot of people don't line the inside of the tins, but honestly I do personally find it makes a really big difference, especially if you're doing like a semi-naked cake and you want the sides of the tin to be really great. The sides of the cake to be really great. You definitely want to line the sides of the tin so you get the best bake possible. So we'll get all these lined. It's a little bit of a faff, but I think if you buy the pre-cut rounds and then slice up a roll of baking paper, I don't think it's too bad. And then the last one. I'm just popping a little bit more spray on the ends just to secure the ends in place. And then we've got 3 lined tins there. So you always want to get prepared first. So always get your tins lined first, and then we can move on to our baking. So as with most recipes, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cream together the butter and the sugar. So let me just grab my KitchenAid. I use a KitchenAid. I've got both a KitchenAid and a Kenwood, but I really like my KitchenAid for baking, but that's nothing against Kenwood so they don't produce a good bake. They do. I just always use my KitchenAid. So I've got my KitchenAid bowl and I've just popped it on some scales and I've just pressed 0. And in here I've got 300 grams of softened butter. So always make sure it's nice and soft. And then I'm going to put in 300 grams grams of caster sugar. So I'm using a 6-inch round cake, obviously for a 6-inch cake, 6-inch round tins. So this is just a really standard recipe. And like I said, it's very easily adaptable. So I'm using 300 grams of butter and 300 grams of caster sugar. Let me just take a little bit out. Okay, so once you've got that then, we can get that on your mixer and we can start mixing up. So we'll get this mixing up. We want the butter and the sugar to be well mixed together, but also the butter should look really pale in colour as well. You can see now it's quite yellow. We want it to look a lot paler. Also, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, which butter you use. You could use stork, you could use a block butter, it doesn't really matter. I would just recommend, if you're going to use a block of butter, to use unsalted butter. You can see already, I hope you can hear me, you can see already that it's going paler in colour. Okay, so I'm just going to stop this, I'm just going to give it a scrape down. Just scrape it all up from the bottom of the bowl. So I'm just going to put it back on, just mix up again, just for like 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, so that's done. We can see how light the butter is. Doesn't look too as yellow anymore. It looks a lot paler and it's really, really well combined. So this is what we're after. So all I'm going to do is just give it a scrape up from the bottom again. And all of the rest of our ingredients now, they're all going to go in together. So that is 300 grams of self-raising flour. 300 grams of self-raising flour. Now when I'm doing this particular mix, because it's equal parts butter, sugar and flour, for every 50 grams of ingredients I do, I would add 1 medium egg. So in this instance I'm going to be adding 6 eggs. So 6 medium eggs will go in there as well. Always make sure that your eggs are at room temperature as well. If they're too cold, it might cause the mixture to curdle slightly. So just always make sure it's at room temperature. So we've got 6 eggs. So we've got 300 grams of flour, we've got 6 eggs. I'm also going to add in a couple of teaspoons of vanilla extract. And also, my little secret ingredients, well it's not so secret, but I like to add a little bit of sour cream. So I'm going to add 50 grams of sour cream, and I just feel like this just adds a little something to the cake. It makes it nice and moist. So about 50 grams of sour cream. And then that's going to go on. So just start it off on slow so the flour doesn't puff everywhere. And just get that, and as soon as it's all combined, you want to stop mixing. You don't want to over mix it. Okay, so I'm going to stop straight away. So you can see how lovely and mixed that is. I don't need to mix it anymore, it's all combined. The risk is if you keep on mixing a batter, it can go quite heavy. And obviously we don't want a heavy sponge, we want a really nice light sponge cake. So there we've got our lovely cake batter. So we're ready now to pop this into our tins. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be around about 400 grams per tin. I do like to weigh it only because I like to make sure that I've got an even amount in each, because I find it will just bake easier. So pop your tin on the scales, pop it at 0. That one had 430, so I might have to scoop a little bit out at the end if I haven't got enough in one. And then this one. This one's got 380, so I'll literally just get that up to about 400 grams, and then we've literally got really even batter in all the tins. So before it goes in the oven, I'm just going to smooth that out a little bit. Okay, so we've got our 3 cakes cooked. Now they're just going to go in the oven. So at 160 fan, these should take about half an hour. So I put 2 on the middle shelf, and then I put 1 on the bottom shelf right underneath the tin, so we get as even airflow as possible. So they're in the oven. Alexa, set a timer for half an hour.
30 minutes, starting now.
There we go, Alexa's set. So yeah, they should be cooked about 11 o'clock. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about how you know if a cake is cooked. What are the signs, okay? Because that's obviously really important as well. So first things first, you really need to know your oven. I know that those will take about 30 minutes in my oven. I know that my oven in my house, because this is my studio, it would take about 25 minutes because it's a little bit quicker. So first of all, you really want to know your oven well. Second of all, obviously we need to test to see if they're cooked. So first of all, obviously the skewer test. So I just use a metal kebab skewer, and you just literally poke it in the cake, withdraw it. If there's no batter on the cake, that's a real good telltale sign that it's cooked. Secondly, the cake obviously should be nice and golden brown. The fan is like blowing my hair everywhere. Secondly, it should be nice and golden brown. So if one's looking slightly paler than the other, you might want to just check on how well that one's cooked compared to the others. So a nice golden colour. Also, the cake should be coming away from the tin very, very slightly. That's a really good sign as well. If you find that it isn't coming away from the tin, it might not be cooked as well. And also, if you listen to the cake, if it sounds really bubbly, generally it's not cooked as well. So it wants to sound quite quiet. So a clean skewer, golden brown in colour, coming away from the cake a little bit, and nice and quiet, and they're a really good telltale signs that it's cooked. But like I said, know your oven, know how long it's going to take. Do not open the oven door before it's cooked, because if you do, you risk them sinking, and obviously we don't want that. So yeah, so I hope that's helped. If you want to make it lemon, really easy. Add in, get yourself 2 lemons, because I like a nice zesty cake. The zest of 2 lemons and the squeeze of 2 lemon juice. You can also add in lemon extract if you wanted to, and that would turn it lemon flavour. If you want to do chocolate, take out 50 grams of self-raising flour and shove in 50 grams of cocoa powder, and you've got a nice chocolate cake. If you want to do sticky toffee, which is super easy, add in 2 tablespoons of black treacle and 2 tablespoons of golden syrup. Easy peasy. So this recipe is really good to adapt to lots of different flavours. So I hope that's helped. I'm going to be doing another video shortly on decorating a cake. But in the meantime, I hope the baking has helped. Don't forget to check thoroughly that it's cooked. Once it's cooked, just leave it to cool in the tin for about 20-25 minutes. Don't try and take it out before. And then once you take it out, wrap it in cling film. Either store in the fridge overnight or pop in the freezer for a few hours before you decorate it. And ta-da, all done.